Aloha, everyone. I am Felicia Miller Johnson, and this is All Intuitive Conversation. Aloha, everyone. Welcome to another episode of All Intuitive Conversation. I'm Felicia Miller Johnson, and this is where I have a show with a conversation that I've never spoken with anyone before. And today's guest is Patti Kaye Bevilacqua.
Bevilacqua.
Bevilacqua. Welcome.
There
That
you
is a
go.
beautiful. What's the origin of that name?
It is Italian and it means drink the water.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go ahead and do that right now. Then drink my water. Yes, that is a beautiful name. I have never heard that. Well, I guess that makes sense now because of the aqua part.
Yeah, and
Drink,
bevy.
drink. Awesome. Okay. Well, I'm excited to be having this all intuitive conversation with you. Welcome. So, with that, like you
Thank you.
said, I haven't done any research, and you're interesting because on your profile is not like anything about you as far as in like your business specifically, like on your picture. So it's literally just a picture of you. So that's even more. So tell me, who is Patti Kaye?
I will. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yeah.
Um, Patti Kaye is in her second life. My first life was I was going to be a PE teacher at the high school forever. I was going to retire as a PE teacher. And I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis before the end of my first year. And I wasn't ready for that. I was on fire. I was invincible. I was 23 years old. And I ended up walking away from teaching 10 years later. I just couldn't manage it. And so the next 14 years, they were dark times. They were uphill, downhill. I tried to find purpose again. When I was teaching, it was great because I knew I was making a difference. Sitting on
Hmm.
my hands while my husband went to work was not a great feeling. And one day I sat down with a paper and pen and I made a list of what is going on in my life when I feel excited and charged up and keen and love the challenge. And it all had to do with people, whenever I was engaging with people. Then I made another list. And who are these people? Well, I love senior citizens. And so they were on my list. And the other thing on my list was women with multiple sclerosis. And so I took a 14-day free challenge about creating a community on Facebook. And I now have a Facebook community of 600 women, and it's called MS, stands for Mindset Shift.
Yes. Okay. Love that in the sense of you took something that was, you know, painful, shocking, and then turned that into a situation that you wanted to be. So I immediately was already shuffling just from telling your story, and then when you were talking about when you charged, so it was like the picture came out. I was like, yeah, she did that, like forging ahead to something new and something different, right? So it was like,
Right.
okay, and then we had this card of like women just guarding, like caring for things. Like you were at home for a while, but you know it's kind of like working in the gardening. That's like not getting it for me. So I'm literally wanting to go and like work and do something, right? It's like I need to be doing something else that's work, constructive with my hands and, of course, with the whole
Yeah.
husband thing. Um,
Yeah.
with that. So So now that you have this group of 600 women, so clearly something has, resonated right away about this. What is it that you talk about and discuss in this group?
Um, right. It's probably 90% optimism. Mindset will working on your mindset is powerful.
Mm,
I'm not I'm not saying to these ladies that you are not struggling or that you have it harder than me. I respect that. And I am not a medical doctor, and so I'm sharing my experience. I have a great sense of humor, and not all of them are engaged in the group. And I wish I had more regulars showing up just because I think it's nice to know you're not alone.
mm,
And I really believe that the process that I went through has no scientific basis to it, but you know what? It's a life experience, which I think for for people generally, right? You
mm-hmm.
can relate to that. We're all people, and then there, I get people coming in. I have a grief counselor going to be doing a chat. Um, People with MS will grieve a loss of identity or loss of job. That's a big one in my group. There are a couple of ladies who just make me laugh every single day. One girl, her lady is Michelle, and she always talks about putting on her super cape, you know? And so,
That
right?
cape.
So,
Yes.
isn't that hilarious? And
Yes.
and so I borrowed it from her, and so we engage outside of the Facebook group all the time because we are pretty much two peas in a pod. And yeah, it's just a safe place to vent, to ask questions.
Mm.
Um, I put in polls, I go live, I write jokes. It just is what it is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I was like asking about like the trigger, and so it was like the resilience. So the thing that I talk about is like very beginning, like you were resilient in, okay, I have this, but this is not just going to completely just stop my life and what I'm doing. And it said that the trigger is that I need to control like the whole like situation. But the true statement talks about I surrender, and it says allow yourself to relax with the currents of life. These changes will take you even closer to where you are meant to be. So it's like a lot of times, we could be grinding and doing all these things, just how are we going to make this work? How do I get these women to engage into the group? But some of the message was just kind of like relax. Like you've planted the seeds already. Like it's there. So with the ones that are engaging and the frustration that you are experiencing that they're not engaging, like I said, because you're funny, you're doing all these different things. What is it that you think you need to be doing to get them engaged?
Well, you made me think of something, and I immediately think of a comment by a young lady named Sherry. And she said to me, I don't like your posts, I don't comment on your posts, but I read everything you put in there. And so, is the engagement for me,
Mm,
right?
mm-hmm.
And you made me think here, I'm not doing any of this for me. If people are reading it and taking something away, silent cheer, right? So
Yes.
you actually have grounded me again.
Yes. Because it is very, very much true that I learned that lesson many times. I remember one time I was at the pool, and it was a gentleman that I knew that I used to kind of work with, like I said, at the pool. And he made this comment. He was like, "Yeah, I saw your post on such and such and such." But again, didn't like it, didn't make a comment, but it's exactly like you said. They are seeing the content and the things that you post. People read all the time. So it's
Right.
sometimes it's like you said, it can be reflective of thinking that doubt. Am I reaching anyone? Because no one is, there's no visuals, there's no hearts, there's no likes, there's no any of this. And you're like,
Right.
why am I doing this? Right. But it becomes down to people are definitely, you know, watching you while you're busy working and doing. Like there is a result to that. And it's exactly going to meet the people where they are when they're supposed to, with that. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So what's a project? Because I'm sensing, like I said, this woman is doing things with her hands. Both of the women that kind of came up. So what's a project that you have in mind that you're not sure about?
Sure. About 6 months ago, I met a lady online, and she was putting together a book collaboration project. And she was looking for 22 to 25 women from around the world who had a story to tell about something really unpleasant happening in their life, but then coming out of it stronger, more purpose, more meaningful.
Mhm.
And my chapter was accepted, and the book is called Absolute Will. Well,
Okay.
she's decided she's going to make this a series, and the next book is called Absolute Vision. And I'm in the process now of filling out or answering her writing prompts to see if I fit, because it has to be different than the story I told in the first one. And so I'm doing that. The second thing I'm doing is I was accepted into a group titled 100 Most Powerful Women. And it is
Yes.
a 12-month program. And I want to create a social enterprise that focuses on women, and I want them to feel like they are seen, heard, and validated. I've met so many women, they don't even have MS, but they they feel like they have no purpose, they feel like they have nothing to look forward to. And I see it in my community, I see it online, and I'm just at the very basics, and it may not end up being that, but I definitely know it's going to be a social enterprise.
Mm.
I'm not looking to start a business that's going to get me going for the next 20 years. I want to create something that gives back and makes people, women especially, know that they're important and their life is important and who you are is important. So I'm not quite sure what that looks like yet, but I would love to, yeah.
So it's interesting because you said you're not quite sure what that looks like yet. But like the whole time you were talking about that, like you were looking up and you had like it's there. Like there's this vision. Like you're tapping into like kind of your higher self. So just explain to me, what is it that you see? What is it you see when you look up? What do you, or even what you feel?
I feel exactly how I felt when I got my first couple of members to a group that nobody knew anything about. And teaching phys ed, my relationship with my students was more important than anything else.
Mm.
And from 1990 to 95, I taught physical education. And out of my 500 friends on my personal page, um, 375 of them are former students. They phone us, they
Um,
sleep on our couch, right? So a whole bunch of them have joined my group as well. And that also may be a reason why the engagement is not huge, because they just support me, right? And they like to see what I'm doing. So what I see is there were two things. I would love to create a digital library. I would like this to be my legacy.
Okay.
Create a digital library where women get to tell their story, and it will be there forever, because everyone has a story to tell. Some stories don't end well. It doesn't matter. You still have a story to
Mm,
tell, and you have every, it's not a right, everyone loves to be heard, right?
mm,
And so find your voice. And even I would like to do them by recordings. I don't want them to be written stories. And I want to be able, I want to encourage them to allow the emotions to be present, to, just put on a tape and just talk yourself through it, and whatever happens, happens. So that's my
yes.
pie in the sky vision. To
Yes.
get me there, I will have, I look forward to
Yes.
putting together a path and taking little bits and pieces along the way. Um, the other thing that's really important to me is I'm applying to be a TEDx talker, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
also applying to various conferences for women. And I joined Toastmasters because I love speaking, and Paul was tired of me standing on the stool going, right? So I
Yes.
I'm happy. I'm dynamic. I'm nutty. And so I want to be on a stage, and I want to have every person in that audience leave with the strength they never knew they had before they got there.
Yes. Love that. Talk wisely and ascend. Okay. So, with your topic, so you've been thinking about that. What would your title of your TED Talk title? What would the title of your TED Talk be?
Hmm, interesting. So the first one that came to mind was people with disabilities serve no purpose on this earth, because I see people with disabilities as change makers.
Mm,
A lot of people will disagree with me, but I believe that. So I kind of scrapped that. Then I wrote down um, something about, it was my story, my understanding, my life, kind of that kind of thing.
yes, my life. Yes. Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, I'm, I don't know yet. I don't know.
Okay.
I
So,
If I could show you my little desk here, you would kill yourself laughing, because I have 57 piles. They all make sense to me. If anybody walked in here, they think I was the most disorganized person. But somewhere over there is a little book where whenever I have an idea for a title or a blog post or something, I put it there.
yes.
And yeah, so, I like to know what's happening, but I don't need to know the details, right? I will
Mhm.
get there.
Yes.
I will get there.
Because I did a chakra like, okay, what is it that can potentially help ground you in this moment? And it literally was the first chakra, which is the root chakra. And it talks about self-sufficiency. And this is what it said. And literally when you said my life, I was reading my life. It says, by finding material security without being materialistic. Because you said you weren't into like all this like for the money. It's like you're wanting to help. I will gain satisfaction, stability, and inner strength. I am resourceful. I put in the effort to be responsible for supplying fundamental needs in my life, such as shelter, food, water, and clothing. I take responsibility for where I now find myself in life as I move forward. And that was just got to chill, was taking it back to like the mentality that you had when you found out. I take responsibility for my life, but I am moving forward from this situation. I get in touch with and trust my innate wisdom, which tells me that I will be provided with all I need. So, like everything that you're going to need in order to build that digital platform with the ladies and encouraging them, it's all going to be provided for you. Don't worry. No stress. Yeah. Go ahead.
Felicia, you rock.
We're co creating this together.
You know, I have a very, very good friend who I admire her because things that she does in her life, and I even tried a lot of them. And, you know, I learned along the way that I had to find my way to make sense of what was
Yes.
happening to me. And you and her are very much on the same page. She has an innate sense to, she's my rock. She'll
Mm.
phone in the middle of nowhere, you know, and say, I just think you're going to be sharing some great news, or, you know, yeah. So you get it. You get it. Yeah.
I I do. And these are messages for you to encouraging you for the things that you are going to do. It doesn't worry about anybody else and what they do and they're not understanding. I don't get whatever you're doing as long as you find it works for you.
And I totally feel that. I totally feel connected to that. Absolutely. Without a doubt.
And then
You
as we
can't
say,
make it up, right?
no. Mm-mm. Well, we make it up, but it's like when we do it, it's like, wow. It's the feeling of just like, oh, like you said, the wonder, the respect, and just the fear of it. Like, oh, wow, did I do that? Like, yes, you
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely did. So it is, you are encouraging. You already know that the work that you're doing, that people will see. There are going to be new things that you're going to create. I'm excited for you. I am encouraging you to realize that do rest a little bit. Like take the time to smell the
Yeah.
flowers because there is going to be, strenuous work that you're going to be doing with that. Like I get that. But it's like it's going to feel as though it's like with when you're planting the seeds, right? It's like you have the seeds, you have this idea, and it's you're tentatively putting it into the ground. And you got to dig deep. Like you got to put the seeds in there. And it's going to seem dark sometimes because you're going to cover it up with the dirt, but just continue to shine your light, your water, any tears of joy that you're going to just have, that's going to help to multiply and that's going to help them to grow. And then you will definitely see the results from the things that you are going to do, that you want to do. And so just be encouraged in that sense. Yeah.
When I filled out an application to be part of the 12-month mentorship program for 100 powerful women,
Mhm.
I wrote on my application, um, I feel like you planted a seed in me. Are you ladies ready to be my water and sunshine? And I wrote that to them. And the next thing I know, I get a phone call and they're like,
Th- th-
we're there.
There it is.
I
The water,
I
you're
know.
planting the seeds, it's on the story. So, ooh, yeah. Be sure to come back and drop in LinkedIn when you do that TED talk because I definitely
Absolutely.
and those talks, I definitely want to see that one. I know it's going to be
Yeah.
amazing. Yes.
I I love it. I love I
Yes.
yeah. You get it. Hmm,
I do get it.
I get it
Patty,
too.
indeed you do. Thank you so much for this opportunity to come together and co-create. I hope you are encouraged to live smart and ascend to new levels of success.
Absolutely.
And thank you for those that have watched live. As we know, you may not have liked or commented in this episode, this particular situation, but I hope you were encouraged by what you heard today. So thank you so much. And until we meet for the next time, bye.